morning, everybody. Welcome to our second to last edition of USA Basketball Recap. The men's took on France tonight in the gold medal game. They held off France 87-82 and pretty good game. Joined again by Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr., and Cardell, going to get to you your thoughts on USA finishing off after, the rough start losing to France in group stage to holding France off in the gold medal game.
Offensively, it felt like it was Kevin Durant and the Spurs, Jason Tatum, and defensively, I felt like it was the entire team. They just wouldn't be denied. When it was different this time because in the first game when they lost, they kind of let the bigs for France have the way and Evan Fournier. But this game, defensively, they were locked in on everybody for the most part. Obviously, you're gonna have some mental breakdowns, but overall, their defensive efforts will won this game. Especially when France was getting to the free throw line because obviously the pick and dive from Gobert and Fall and their size inside was just it is what it is. 7'2" and 7 feet. It is what it is, man. It's hard to deal with, especially when USA is undersized. I mean, Kevin probably was the tallest player outside JaVale McGee, who didn't play, but Kevin's the tallest player, but obviously he don't have the girth and stuff to bang with those guys consistently. But even in certain possessions, he stepped up and got stops and then let them just have their way. We all know Evan Fournier, he went off in the first game and he's the reason why they won that first game. In this game, they held him to 5 of 15 shooting. They held him in check. And he's pretty much the only guard consistently that can create and that made shots, man. You know what I mean? So I was definitely happy to see that Gobert. 16-8. But, man, he missed some free throws, man. He missed some free throws, man. If he hit his free throws, it might be a different game, man. And that, you saw his reaction at the end of the game, with his head down on the bench because, he was 6 of 13 from the line and he fouled out. That's just tough. That's a tough hill to swallow. He was that close to a gold medal, man. But, it comes back to Kevin Durant. It's the reason why I feel like he's the best player on the planet. And he showed that it's hard to stop that dude. He got it. He went to mid range, even though he was off from three. He got a couple shots to go from deep. He got to the free throw line, rebounded, assist, guarded everybody. 1 through 5, man. You could tell Pop was telling him, man, if there's any point in the game where offense is not clicking, do your thing, and that's what he does, man. He's been a professional scorer since he was in high school, and he's efficient, and it's easy to put the ball in his hands. And Jason Tatum was right there. He was right there with him, and that's how they won the game, man. Because the other guys, for the most part, were struggling, or could get in the flow or get a rhythm offensively, man. So, all in all, when you combine both sides of the floor, it was a team effort because even with Kevin Durant doing what he did offensively and Jason Tatum pitching in, they still need to get a lot of stops to hold France off. And, that was key, man. It was that close, man. It was a great game, great competitive game. But, at the end of the day, sometimes, man, it's just about which team has the best player on the floor. And USA had that. And he also just happened to be the best scorer in the world as well. So, kudos to USA, man. They overcame a lot to get this gold medal, man. We seen, obviously covering the team, we kind of see more behind the scenes stuff as far as no family allowed, no friends, no fans and thing. Media can't be there. They've been in the bubble for the last couple of weeks since they got over to Japan, man. The time difference, incorporating different players. Some players that was originally on the team, they had to let go. They overcame a lot of adversity, man. Losing a couple exhibitions, losing the first couple games in an Olympic play. They had to overcome a lot. They had to fight through it in a short period of time and come together as a team to get this done, man. So they deserve all the respect in the world, man. They got a chance to shut up all the critics who's waiting for them to lose, so they can get the trolling on Twitter and all that. You know how they do. So all in all, they bring the gold medal back home where it should always be, and salute to those guys.
Right.
Yeah, man. Mission accomplished. Like Cardell pointed out, they really had to reach down to get this one. And kudos to those guys for banding together and getting the job done. But this game, man, I feel like they set the tone defensively from jump. first possession of the game, 24-second violation. Like I can't ever remember seeing that in a basketball game. Period. So that just kind of let France know what type of evening it was going to be. And they continued that. They were intense from the beginning. They extended their defense. They were picking up full court. They just would not let them get comfortable, and that was a huge difference between the first game and preliminary round when Fournier he just got loose. He was way too comfortable. He did everything he wanted. They were determined not to let that happen this game. Of course, when you got a guy like Drew Holiday that you could just throw on the opposing team's best guard and just make their life miserable, it's a luxury, and he did that. The France they were hunting that mismatch on the when USA was switching on the pick and the big would dive to the hole. They found some success with that early, but Team USA adjusted. They stopped switching as much, and then on the times when they did switch, the double would come. They would dig down, and Gobert and Fall. They're good players, but they're not they're not the best when that type of pressure is collapsing on them. And US uses it to their advantage. Then they were putting those guys on the line. Cadell brought up the free throw shooting. They were just counting on Gobert to miss, and he did. Their defensive intensity never wavered throughout the entire game, and Durant carried them on the other end. And Tatum he got hot and was able to hit some shots. I think he finished with 19. The defense is really what impressed me. They forced 19 turnovers, and when you get that many extra opportunities, then that's typically that leads to you winning the game. The offense has started off. They were sputtering. They were shooting a lot of threes, but kind of late in the first quarter, Kevin Durant just kind of settled things and took over and got them going. And as basically every win they had, once he started going, then everybody else followed behind him. So, and that's kind of we had been talking about earlier when they were kind of struggling, trying to define roles within the team. We kind of said, Kevin's just going to have to put that on his shoulders and assume that leadership role with scoring, just to kind of just kind of get the ball rolling. And ever since he did that, they've been winning. So, whether those were conversations they had amongst each other or it just kind of happened naturally, that was kind of their recipe for success. Bam Adebayo, man, he played a great game. His energy, him attacking the glass. We've been talking about Team USA being undersized. He just countered that with energy and effort, and sometimes that's all it takes. And he's athletic himself, so he's able to get in there and get rebounds, disrupt a lot of things, and then just the hustle all around. We've seen guys diving on the floor, chasing down loose balls. You can tell they really wanted this one, and then they got the result that they earned. Man, it was a nice competitive game. They battled. France wouldn't go away. We had been seeing U.S. kind of pull away from teams in the third quarter and just put them to sleep. But it looked like it was heading that way, but France responded and ended the quarter strong. And then in turn, Team USA came out in the fourth quarter and got the job done. So yeah, man, just congratulations to those guys. They deserve it, man. I hope they enjoy it. And yeah, they, get to come home with the gold medal.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add after you guys. I think you got everything. Like you said, you mentioned Bam Ray. I'm gonna give love to the other small ball center they had playing. Dre was tremendous tonight. I know a lot of people, box score folks. Draymond's here to just ruin your view on life since he had 0 points, but his impact was heavily felt. And you saw late in the game when stuff kind of got a little weird. Dre was out there as the other steadying hand, especially defensively. But even on the offensive end, they had him kind of just running. They were giving him the ball, trying to kind of get stuff going and settle things down. But like you said with Bam, they both brought what they do very well to the table, and they don't get the goal without them too sacrificing doing some of the ugly things, setting screens, multiple screens every freaking possession, battling out of their weight class sometimes in terms of the size when you're dealing with France. And it allows them to get away with something, with combating the size that France has, because both of them are very capable of passers. They don't do it in the same way exactly, but you got to see it on display. And it was like you guys said, it was all hands on deck defensively. And yeah, I can't remember the last time turn on a game period, being men's and women's, and the first possession resulted in a shot clock violation. And then the other thing they did, you guys mentioned them turning France over. They did a good job keeping the ball. They had a couple stretches where they turned it over a little bit, but for the most part, I think they ended the game with 9 turnovers. It's not exactly bad at all, especially on a night where shots weren't falling. This is another example where I know everyone loves the three. Sometimes you got to just play basketball, because they took 32 of them as a team, but they only hit 9, and that's not exactly an indictment on the caliber of shooters they have. That's the type of night it was. They found a way to get it done. Obviously, like you guys said, some folks that had the KD slander on deck after the playoffs. It's kind of quiet. Expected to be quiet until at least the season starts.
Just found Greg Popovich talking about they not responding to him.
Yep.
I'm like, y'all just
a lot of those
stupid.
reports. Yeah, a lot of those very interesting, just erroneous reports to a degree, because if they're not responding, you don't do this if you're not responding to somebody.
But the players were saying that all along in interviews and stuff. That's why I love, it's tough on us because we actually get to interact and be there and hear what the hell they got to say all throughout this camp since they were in Vegas. Yo, Popovich, man, we all responded to him. We just got to get the chemistry right. They've been saying it. Like, he wasn't indicting Popovich at all. It was outside people or whatever who would love to be in Popovich position, it seems like. So, hey, man, people just want to talk, man. But, yeah, this cements this stamps it. They got to be quiet. And shout out to Drew Holiday as well. His defense was ridiculous.
I mean, it changed the tone of the team a lot, him being here. Even late in this game, they got to the second half. I thought it was cool. I think it was Mike Prado on Twitter. I just want to make sure I give that man his credit. That pointed it out. Was talking about in the third quarter. Because you have somebody like Drew Holiday and Draymond on the floor at the same time, they had Drew and Draymond wreaking havoc on their respective levels of the defense, and had KD roaming. So you had 3 better defenders out here locking up shop, and it allowed KD to stay out of foul trouble with him being the guy that was roaming. So again, these are things you can't do without Drew here. And we felt Drew's impact from the game they lost, the opening game they lost to France. Like Drew impacts, and we felt his impact off the jet lag, like immediately. So
he was key. He was key with Fournier.
Yep.
Because Fournier killed him in the first game coming off those screens, and he was open. They couldn't get over Gobert's screen. Drew Holiday was on his ass. Yep. So when he rose up, he couldn't even get a shot off. He had to pump fake and try to draw fouls and just keep it passing, try to move the ball. So he ain't allowed Fournier to get any rhythm. None of them. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, he was key. He was key, man. Without defense, they don't win.
Oh, not for sure. And then the only thing I want to add with Drew, and the other thing is, it was an example for all the young guards that were on the team too, on the end of the floor. Like Devin Booker did a good job defensively during this run as well. But again, it's hard to slack off on the end of the floor when Drew Holiday is right next to you, literally guarding 1 through 5 and handling business. What do you look like not staying attached to your man?
Fresh off winning the championship, doing the same damn.
Some of y'all was in training camp, and he had more legs and lungs on that end of the floor than you did in a greater impact, and y'all were preparing for it.
But you know what? Popovich spoke on that. He was right, man. They were in better shape because their season continued.
Yep.
A lot of those guys in that season, and they took some time off, so they were trying to ramp it back up. And they got all the playing ready to go. Like, where the game at, dog? Let's go. So I get back to the crib. Now they about to take a well-deserved vacation. So, yeah.
With the NBA offseason, they got a hard 25, 30 days to get ready. But now, all jokes aside, well-deserved gold medal trip for the men's. We're obviously going to be back on tomorrow night to see if the women's, I think if they win tomorrow night, it'd be 56 consecutive games. And then it would be the 7th gold medal if they do, in fact, handle business against Japan. So we'll be on tomorrow night to discuss that. But before we get out of here, as always, got a quick word from our folks over at Who's in Us. Give me a moment to pull that up. And a reminder, always get over to thefocustv.com. All right, buy one cocktail and we'll buy the next. A weekly reminder that U Street is open until 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. So for some of y'all, that's close enough. You still have time. It's only 1 a.m. Eastern, which is weird for us because it's been some late nights. Get over to oohsandahs.com to see the menu, hours, and more. Again, order from U Street or Georgian Avenue today. And we're going to see you guys tomorrow. So you guys have a great evening. Enjoy most of your Saturday, and we'll get up with you guys tomorrow night around the same time to discuss the results of the gold medal game on the women's side of the bracket. Again, the USA is going to be taking on Japan. They met earlier in – it's kind of where both the men and the women, U.S. men and the women, are playing teams, I believe, that were in their group for the gold in the gold medal games. So, again, you guys have a great evening. We'll see you guys soon.